One of the most exciting advantages I've had in this industry is that I've actually been a photographer for 22 years. I originally started as a film-based photographer, and about the first 13 years of my career I was shooting medium format cameras. Now this was great because it really forced me to learn posing and lighting and all the techniques to be a good portrait artist. But about 11 years ago we started to delve into the digital technology that was coming out. Now we started very early on in the digital transfer, and of course it was a very difficult time. The education process, the learning curve was huge, and frankly it was very expensive and very time consuming. All of a sudden we went from photographers who had to understand the basics of film, posing and lighting, and now we had to understand everything from color calibration to monitor calibration, working with labs, right down to understanding how to use a computer, downloading and creating a complete workflow process. For the last 10 years, we've tried multiple camera and capture devices to find the perfect system. About 4 or 5 years ago, we finally hit the Canon DSLR cameras and we were hooked. Honestly, the camera and the capture devices, the education process, and the learning curve was so simple it allowed me to get back to what I truly love, which is capturing people's images. Now, about 3 years ago, we were lucky enough to be some of the first studios in the country that actually got to play around a little bit with video capture. Now this was a really exciting time for us because all of a sudden I was imagining sessions that could include video and stills and the way we could merge them and actually create an awesome product that my clients would fall in love with. You know, I really feel that DSLR video capture is going to be a huge part of the upcoming technology and sort of the new wave of future photographers. It's something that right now photographers are sort of reaching out there and trying to grasp and understand the technology, but once they understand what a benefit is, I think they're really going to see it as a visionary product, something that's going to give them an opportunity to actually create life. There's nothing more exciting than when we do a session and we actually add video to it and the client doesn't know it's going to be there. All of a sudden they come in for their sales session and they are completely blown away by the actual real-life moment, the memories, the images of what happened, and as well as that live video. It's just creating a whole new dynamic in this industry. Aw, can you pet her? That's really cute. Can you pet her head? Can you give her a little, aw, are you sneaking her treat? I see what you're doing. In our studio, it's a little bit of a process when we decide to use video capture. Ultimately, our goal is to add some video element in every session, but of course every day there's all kinds of situations where you have a child that may not be wanting to be a part of it, or a very busy scenario where it can't happen. But ultimately our goal is to think in advance, to try to pre-plan a concept or an idea and really tell the whole story. Now there are all kinds of ways that this can be done. If we're working with an engagement couple, we might want to do an interview where maybe we talk to the bride alone and ask her some questions about the groom, and then maybe we talk to the groom and ask him some questions about the bride. All I want to do is just get a fun little interview of you talking a little bit about Brian. Now I don't want you to think about the camera at all, I want you to just sort of focus on me, and I'm going to step over here just so it doesn't bother you. Try not to let your eyes go back and forth, just focus on me, and you're going to be telling the story of your relationship.
Well, Brian is an electrician, and he was contracted to work on my condo that I was having totally redone.
Well, I was her electrician. She was getting her condo remodeled, and she hired me to do the electrical work.
He called me one day out of the blue to schedule a time to come over and work on the project. And I was kind of irritated that one of the contractors would call me. I thought this was all being taken care of, and I really didn't understand why this person was even approaching me.
I just got done snowboarding and went there to give her the estimate, and she was really rude to me.
We eventually met, and the first time I saw him, he didn't match the person that was on the phone. He was very attractive and just looked like a lot of fun and looked like a really nice person, and I was instantly attracted to him.
And got a call back. She apologized to me and said that there's a misunderstanding and asked me to come back and give her the paperwork.
Brian actually put me off for about 6 months until we actually went on our first date.
Well, she cornered me in the elevator when I was taking stuff down one day and asked if I'd like to go out and hang out with her and her friends. And I said, yeah, sure, you know, and it took about 6 months before I called her back.
I had asked him to go out a few times when he was working on my condo, and he just denied me every single time, and I didn't know what the problem was. I thought he must have a girlfriend, and you know, all my girlfriends are telling me, you know, he's probably in a relationship and or something like that. My sister told me he's probably gay, but I chose not to believe that. But 6 months later, he called me out of the blue and asked me if I wanted to go out on a date, and we did, and we clicked instantly and started dating, and knew within just a couple weeks we probably had something a little more special than most people.
What I like most about Katie is probably her sense of humor, how smart she is, how easygoing she is, willing to do whatever to have fun.
Brian can always look on the bright side of things, no matter what, and that's something that I treasure in him a lot. He always sees the positive in people, and he can always look on the bright side even in a very negative situation.
Now we've got this beautiful video footage in the beginning of our session, and then from there we can actually incorporate video into the session along with those stills, and we continue to tell that story. The actual moment, the session itself, and we can kind of get the magic and the love that they feel between each other. Now, this is only one of the ways that we can use it. We use it all the time with children. It's fun to actually capture them, not just during the session, but a lot of times some of the things that happen even before we get started, whether it's mom combing their hair or, you know, they're running around the studio like crazy. Capturing that and sort of getting that prepared in advance really creates a surprising element when the client comes in to view the images. All right, so have a seat right here. Can you sit down for me? Another incredible application for merging video and stills is really the high school senior market. Now, when I came into this industry, high school seniors were huge. I knew photographers that were shooting thousands of kids every year, and this was a big market share. Now, over time, we've watched this market dwindle, and some photographers just aren't able to really capture that audience anymore. A lot of it has to do with the new digital technology. These kids are out there shooting their own pictures. Their moms are shooting their pictures. I even know kids that go out there, grab a friend, they shoot 300 images, and all of a sudden they have their yearbook photos. So for a portrait artist, we have to find ways to separate ourselves from the consumers at this point. Digital capture and video capture is something that we can merge together to really create a unique product that really nobody can have. It's just a matter of learning the technology and learning how to apply it. When you sit down with a senior and you're able to interview them and talk to them about all the different things that they have in their lives, the things that mean the most, what they want to do when they graduate, their best experiences in high school, all of a sudden you're creating a memory, you're creating an actual moment in time. Not only is that senior going to enjoy it, but mom and dad are going to love that video as well. Oh, that's gorgeous right there. Great smile. Beautiful. I love that. Good right there. Shake, shake, shake big time. Look up in the sky. Look out the window for a second. Do it again. There it is. She's found the wind. Woohoo! That's beautiful right there. Good right there. Now just bring your hands up right behind your neck. That's beautiful right there. I get asked all the time, how are we able to successfully incorporate video capture into our actual sessions? A lot of it is that learning curve. You have to understand your equipment and you need to know how to use it properly. But once you get past that, it really is a matter of becoming fluid with your clients. Ultimately, my goal is to not let the client know I'm doing video capture. Now, this can't always happen, but honestly, most of my sessions, I'm actually able to start the session without the client even knowing it. I'll tell them to just go ahead and get ready, and then I'm just setting my camera. So I may get a client into a pose, maybe a couple or a family, get them into a pose, and I'll say, okay guys, I'm just gonna go ahead and adjust my camera. So what I want you to do is do a few things. I'm checking the lighting. I want you to just go right there, just lean together, just give a little bit of cuddle. Okay, everybody squeeze real tight. Now this whole time I'm shooting video, but they really have no idea. So they're sort of interacting very naturally and they're having a good time. I may crack a joke or get them to say something funny or even have them tickle each other or something like that. Just cuddling together. Now I just got to test my lights so you two can just talk amongst yourself for just a second.
You said straddle.
Well, you could straddle. All right, now just squeeze kind of together. And Katie, I'm going to need your face forward a little bit more and cuddle. The video itself is going to be incorporated in so that it's seamless. They won't even know that it's happening. Now throughout the session, I'm actually going to do that several times. Each time I change the scene, I'm going to shoot a little more video and then the stills that go with it. This is wonderful because honestly, when a client comes in and they're coming in for their sales session, they have no idea it's going to happen. And let me tell you, that wow factor when a client sits down and all of a sudden they see their images live on the screen floating in and out, and then the real life moment, the actual hugs and the kissing and the cuddling, all of a sudden they just can't live without it. And now we've created this tremendous product, something that they have to take home, and it's something that we just had to take a little time to pre-think it out, and we got the magic. As an educator, one of my goals is really to teach photographers how to merge video and still technology together. Now there are a few things you're going to have to understand before you can get started. The first and one of the most important things is really stability. You're going to have to work from a stable source such as a tripod in order to avoid those shaky shots. The next is lighting. Now the good news is most portrait photographers understand lighting, but for them it's really understanding that you're not going to be able to work with sources such as strobes. You're going to primarily be working in available light, and you're going to have to understand how to control depth of field using ISO, aperture, and shutter speed to your benefit. Now the third thing is something that most photographers don't really understand at all, and that's sound, how to capture sound and how to use it effectively in the products that you're creating. Now there are two sides to this. You may be working to where you need sound and it's actually a part of what your product is going to be, or it may be something that you don't need sound, you just need the video. So pre-planning and sort of conceptualizing the idea is going to be really important before you can jump in. And the final piece is really the workflow. From the time you shoot the setting all the way to when you edit and create the product, you're going to have to understand that workflow process, and it does include some new tools and some new software and technology that you're going to have a total understanding. The bottom line is video capture can really bring a new element to your studio and really give you something exciting to work with, a little bit of education and a little bit of time, and you can create awesome products.